Elevation Nation, and probably our most requested episode to date, we finally have on our dear friend, Brett Greenberg. Brett, I've been begging you to come on the podcast for a long time. Brett is the former assistant GM for your Washington Wizards, my first ticket plug to all Wizards events here in DC. But more importantly, Brett is an incredible human being, an incredible friend, and certainly an elevator as he now transitions to a new period in his life beyond just the NBA. Brett Greenberg, welcome to Elevation Nation. I'm so damn excited that you're here.
Thank you all for having me. This is feels like a long time coming, even though I'm glad that I've been able to elevate because I was Sam's ticket connection over the years. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm excited to be here, pumped to hang out with you guys, and let's get going.
Yeah, man. I mean, Sam and I have talked about for a while, like, when is Brett coming on? I think like a couple years ago, we were like, all right, maybe we got some momentum here. And then Sam was like, wait, like, it's not right. Like, it'll be right. But Brett, I got something for you too. I know you're a metal guy, right? You love metal. And I'll be honest with you, I have been leaning in to the metal world a little bit recently, and it gets me pumped in the gym. And I've come across some TikToks on the band Slipknot. Slipknot is also a song created by my favorite band, Grateful Dead. And so I was in the Slipknot hole. I know nothing about them. I was like learning about the history, the craziness, the masks, and honestly, the music, I'm kind of down. Maybe you can help me learn a little bit more about this.
Yeah, I mean, once you start, it becomes addictive. And then you're going to go to a show and you're going to be like, this energy and this collectiveness and unity is amazing. And I bet you lift much, much better when you're listening to metal than when you're listening to any other genre. I could be wrong about that, but I'm willing to bet. Sam, I've tried with Sam. I've gotten Sam to a couple White Ford Bronco shows. Cover
he likes
cover
White
rock.
Ford Bronco.
He's been to a couple. But
we got Jared Butler to one too, which is even more impressive.
We did get Jared Butler. And you know who was also at that one? Was Pat Spencer, who's now talking shit to everyone and everybody with the Warriors.
BL guy, Boys Latin, represent.
A lot of Baltimore connections here. But yeah, it becomes addictive. And yeah, I think, Parker, we can also talk offline if you need any recs.
I do.
The metal world is where it's at. And for people that are like unsure, it seems like, oh, everyone's so, mean and just banging their heads. It's like the total opposite. It's like the nicest community, and you just kind of lose yourself in the music once you kind of find your vibe.
I'm with that. And that's why I appreciated it going down the Slipknot rabbit hole, is that these guys were creating music to release emotion and help people in the audience release emotion. And I think that's up Sam's vibe too. And I think if we can get him there eventually, but right now we got him to Goose, and I got to be happy with the jam band bringing in of Sam. So we'll take it from there. Brett, we start every podcast the exact same. This was a nice little teaser into who you are, but let us know a little bit more through like an elevator pitch. It is Elevation Nation. Tell us more about yourself.
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, so for the company I work at now, Teamworks, which is incredible company, we actually just recently had to do like, okay, what are 3 things about yourself that if somebody was giving the elevator pitch for you, what would they say, as a way for us to kind of intro our teammates? And yeah, I think so we can work backwards. I spent 14 seasons with the Washington Wizards. Last 4.5, 5, I was assistant GM. Before that, a couple roles, VP of basketball strategy or salary cap management and analytics. Titles. And then was in the video room when I started breaking down film for players, coaches. And so kind of the way that this started was Sam hasn't really seen, but I feel like he's gotten a feel for the fact that my playing days were were not very spectacular. Whatever the opposite of Elevation Nation, when you start to kind of go down the steps,
That's called de-escalation nation, as Matt
or
McFarland has coined it.
de-elevation nation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone who saw me play, but I was just obsessed with basketball, and at really, at that point, I was like, well, how could I be involved when I'm just but I was a bench warmer on a JV team, a good JV team, 21-3, but and so what came back was try to be a student manager and learn how to break down film. And this is actually kind of crazy. Like in high school, I ended up being a manager for Stevenson University my last 2 years, but because I technically was a recruitable athlete, the NCAA like wouldn't let me, and so I had to petition the NCAA to give up my playing eligibility, and they ended up letting me as long as I said I wouldn't go to that school and I wouldn't play in college ever. I guess the thought was that if the best school in the country wanted to like recruit some high school junior and pay them whatever you want to do to be a manager, and then it would give them an edge in recruiting them. I'm like, no, I just want to like wipe up the floor of sweat and fill up water bottles and help the coaches out however I can for a Division III school because I cannot play ball anymore. So anyway, so I was a manager there, and then I was a manager in college at Duke, which was an awesome experience. Coach K's, legendary. Learned how to break down film, and also started studying the NBA salary cap. And that was like the first time. I know you all have talked about things like this before, but like, there was the first time that I started studying something where I was like, this is all I want to study. Like I was obsessed with it. I wanted to learn everything about it inside out. And I just like, was like, okay, now this is what I want to do. Cause I thought I wanted to coach. And then I just kind of became obsessed with, can we put, how do you use this set of rules that all the teams have to follow that have a billion exceptions to put a team together, and all 30 teams have to abide by the same set. And so I think coming out of college, like my senior year of college, I created an independent study with a law professor, ended up doing this like 300-page project on the Knicks. So I was pumped. I was like, oh, I'm ready for a front office, and then send all these letters out to people and emails, and it's like 5 people responded. And then when I would have conversations about the front office, people would be like, oh, that's cute. You think you know the salary cap? They'd be like, but you have video room experience. So, interviewed in a couple places for video and started as a video intern for the Heat. And then came to the Wizards.
Which is the golden position, right? Isn't that what that's called, Brett?
Video intern?
For the Heat specifically.
For the Heat.
Isn't that what Spoelstra did?
Yeah, it's amazing because he's... Spo has like his handprint, fingerprints on everything in that room. And so you're just getting like, the best possible. It was wild. And he has no ego, which is just incredible for a leader. And Pat Riley, it's like, I had to like, pinch myself. But I always wanted to, I grew up in Baltimore and I grew up a Wizards fan. I always wanted to work for the Wizards. And so I met Tommy Shepard back when I was in college and stayed in touch with him. And then they were looking for a video person when Flip Saunders, rest in peace, got there. And so they were like for an assistant video guy. And so my first 4 years with the Wiz, I was doing video. And then I was really lucky that Tommy and my boss, Ernie Grunfeld at the time too, and even our coaching staff, like on the side, they would let me do front office projects, just things that, had nothing to do with, they didn't need to see anything I was doing, but they knew I was interested in it. And then at one point, there was like a new CBA and I just learned it really fast. And at that point, I felt like it kind of became inevitable that eventually I was going to move to the front office. And that's kind of what happened. Just because
CBA is collective bargaining agreement for folks out there that don't know the NBA lingo, which is essentially the rules that you have to abide by when building out the team. Right, Brett?
That is correct. Sam
Good job,
knows.
Sam.
Yeah. Sam's he's gotten to know a lot of players, a lot of personnel. Our guy Pete, shout out Pete, Coach
Pete. He's an elevator.
He is an elevator.
Brett, what's cool with you and your story is you had a passion for something so inherent in your soul, and you worked your ass off to get to where you wanted to go. And I think for so many people, myself included for sure, I have no idea what I want to do still, and I'm 30. And from a young age, you knew exactly what you wanted to do. You set out on this goal. You impressed everybody along the way. I also want to give you kudos. When Brett was working, Brett was not just really good at his job. Brett is really good at leading teams of people and making everyone feel welcome and included. There are notorious evenings that will go down in infamy of Brett Greenberg just bringing every single person from the Wizards organization, from front office staff to players to coaches to ticket sales, to a bar after a game just to spend time and meet each other. And I was lucky enough to somehow sneak my way into those events. But it's incredible how Brett builds a community around him. So, Brett, I guess my question is, you made it to the top. You had this incredible job, this really cool life. You're making some decent change. And now you're not working there anymore. Obviously, your life kind of took a different turn. How did that happen? You hit the pinnacle of what you wanted to do. I mean, next step, I used to brag about you. My friend's going to be the youngest GM in NBA history. Like, I was ready for that title. What happened? What changed? And I mean, you're still living a beautiful, happy life.
Yeah, I think what you left out on the intro was that you wanted me to join Elevation Nation when I was assistant GM, and then I left, and it was like, I don't know, this guy, like, I don't know if he doesn't have whatever
That's not
anymore, a
true.
job title.
That's not true at all.
I'm just kidding. I mean, I think, yeah. So professionally, I mean, it was pretty amazing. Like, I had to pinch myself. This was the team I grew up loving, and titles. Just like, how is that even possible that I was able to stay there that long? And but I think a few things happened, but namely, under the surface, there were personal issues that I just wasn't dealing with like my entire life. And part of why, even from a young age, I think where I became obsessed, like I always loved basketball. I still do, obviously. But part of why I was like, this is going to be my thing was because I didn't want to deal with any of the personal stuff that was bubbling under the surface. And I guess not to bury the lead, but yeah, sexual orientation issues that I, had dealt with my whole life, or at least, most of my life, and just was really scared working in pro sports. And and then you kind of have these moments where you pop out and you're just like, wait a minute, like what am I doing here? Like, you know, haven't gone on like a single day. I mean, you know, sorry for the pod, but tried girls, but yuck. But but you're just like, imagine kind of going through your 20s and not going on like a single date or acting on any type of impulse of anything, or a single relationship or single hookup, really, in terms of like, with people you're attracted to. And so that was kind of what my reality was. On the other hand, I was getting kind of all this positive feedback loop where every 2 or 3 years I'm kind of, was fortunate enough to get a promotion. I don't know why it kept me so long, but, and so you're like kind of getting this feedback loop where it's like, oh, this work and this life that you're building is pretty cool. And yeah, I just, looking back, you look back on it now, because this kind of journey where I finally started dealing with it started in 2022, kind of right around when I met you, Sam. And yeah, and so and I'm out now. To be fair, Parker, I don't know if you know this story. So Sam found out. I came out to Sam and Matt like, I think maybe a year before I came out to the world. I literally had wrecked my ankle in a mosh pit like 2 days before. It might have been the day before.
At a concert.
Yeah, at a concert. And so I'm on crutches, and I'm like, and normally we're in DC, so I'd meet them at dinner. I was like, you're gonna have to pick me up. They were like, what? And I come out of like my building on crutches, and I don't even know how to use crutches. So I'm like messing this up. Sam's like, what are you doing? And so they take me to dinner, and I was like, I gotta tell you guys something. And they had no idea. Like I was like, like, make this easier on me. And yeah, so I told them at dinner. But then maybe like a couple months later, Sam was like, like, you're getting more comfortable, maybe, like you could just like come out on the pod. And I thought about it for a minute. I was like, Nah, but good idea. It was a good sales pitch. But it still
That
took
would be
time.
something.
Yeah, NBA people were the last people I told, and then it wasn't until like April of this year, where I finally like put out a post and kind of got it out of the way.
Wow.
So I say that I know I've talked for 5 minutes now, but why did I leave? Basically after the pandemic where I felt like I lost 2 years of my life. And I don't mean that from a way, like I think we all felt like we lost a lot of time, right? Like, and the pandemic was real and all that, but we just like, the NBA rules during the pandemic were nuts. We were getting tested every day. My family was a little crazy, with it, 'cause my sister has 2 young kids. So when I would see them, it's like, we were like reheating salads in the oven. But yeah, so it comes out of that. I didn't go to concerts for basically 2+ years. And so we come out of that and then you start looking around and it's like, um, yeah, like this isn't going to be sustainable. And it just kind of was on this path. There were a few other things, I kind of started to get to see like some of the downsides of our business too, um, during some periods. But yeah, it just kind of led me to needing time to, actually focus on myself. And sometimes the NBA season and working for a team doesn't always give you that, especially given that I was starting from behind and needed time. So yeah, that's the long version of why I left. I apologize for speaking too long.
Well, it is a podcast. You never have to apologize for talking on the mic. It's long form content for a reason. And Brett, I just want to thank you for the vulnerability and authenticity, because that's what we're about at Elevation Nation. And obviously you've had, we're all on a unique journey within it ourselves, but we've talked to so many high performing people. We've talked to so many people who are putting themselves in situations where they're surrounded by the best of the best and they're expected to deliver the best and sometimes more than the best, some unrealistic expectations. And I'm always taken back by those individuals who are expected to be above and beyond. And they say, wait, I have other things in my life too that I want to get to and uncover. And we've heard countless stories of people exercising mental fortitude, something we've talked about since episode 1, where they've had to overcome and see through themselves and come to terms with some things in their personal life and say, you know what, I don't care about the business stuff because me is me and I want to focus more time on that. And then vice versa, right? People are like, you know what, I got shit in my life, but I want to go all in on my business. And so I just appreciate your vulnerability here on the pod. In terms of you saying like you took a step away for a year to focus on yourself, what does that look like for you? What did that look like for you? That's a long time.
Yeah, it was not always linear, as Sam knows. I mean, it was kind of like so I left the Wizards the day I left, I told my sister. So like at that point my sister didn't even know. Sorry, I came out to my sister. She knew I was leaving the Wizards. And Yeah, and so I think that it was a process, one, of just like getting to do things that I hadn't gotten to do because of the NBA schedule. So I went a little crazy with music festivals and finally went to Italy, which was unbelievable, and had Italian food for 2 straight weeks. Pasta, pizza, everything.
Which I just got to chime in. Brett is the king of the Italian food Instagram story. Brett is notorious as he will send live videos of pasta and pizza dishes with a little emoji that says "send help."
Yeah, there's this movie coming out Friday called Send Help. I'm like, did I trademark that? Like, should I be getting some type of rights from that? I do really want to see this movie though.
I saw a preview for it too. It looks pretty good.
It's up my alley. Yeah, my friends trust me with Italian food and hibachi, and then everything else you can just throw out the window. Sam will be like, where do you want to go? And he knows I'm going to say some Italian place. And so he'll just kind of be like, oh, all right, in the mood for this. So then I'll just be like, Sam, just tell us where we're going. If it's not going to be Italian.
I don't know if I've ever had Italian with Sam, to be honest with you.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's
Probably
not
not.
an Italian guy.
Not an Italian guy.
That's not his move ever. He's not a burger guy or an Italian guy.
We just
And
got to
Brett
make it
only
happen.
eats burgers in Italian.
Well, I'm very picky with burgers. Fuddruckers is my favorite burger.
You're very picky with
chicken
food.
feet.
I brought Brett to a bougie, like upscale sandwich place, and Brett called out the chef and was like, "Can you just make me a plain turkey sandwich with nothing on it?"
I didn't like call out the chef. I just said, "Is it possible to get this?" And then they were like, and then the chef came out. I was like, "This is," I was like, I didn't mean to call this. Although I will say, former coworker once told me, it's okay to be difficult as long as you're decisive. Like, just be decisive. And that stuck with me. Maybe it just made me feel better. But I was like, if I have like a picky order, I'm like, I know what I want. Boom. Yeah. So it was a lot of travel. I mean, there were definitely ups and downs. Personally, because one, now I had all this time to like think about everything from a dating perspective, from when I'm telling people and what the perception is, and it really still was a slow. I mean, it took me. I didn't come out until a year after I left, so I was still really dealing with kind of everything, up and down. And I think Sam at one point got tired of. Sam's just like, "Welcome to this is the world I've been dealing with, the dating world, for the last decade, and you're sitting here like crying to me about, oh, this just happens. Like, welcome to the world." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but I'm sitting here thinking about this stuff 24/7." But slowly, I just, like I basically didn't that year. I didn't watch the playoffs. I didn't watch any basketball. I left in like March 2024, and then as the end of 2024 came around, passion kind of slowly but surely started kind of coming back in a way, and realize that there can be a way, I think, still to like be myself, and also still see what else is out there on the job front that would excite me. And so started working with one of my best friends' agencies. He had left the team side. Matt Bolero founded ProMondo Sports, and so been consulting with him almost a year now, which has been great. Shout out AJ Green, probably our biggest client right now. Although Keaton Wagler right now in Illinois, he had 46 the other day. It's yeah, but and then starting in September, started at Teamworks, and it's crazy. Like this Teamworks, we worked with Teamworks when I was with the Wizards as a sports technology company, software company, and they bought up like all these different companies since I left, and I really wasn't looking. I didn't know about the job, and then from the second I had a call with them, I was like, this seems like a great fit. And when I tell that story, people have to remind me and hold that against me when I start talking about dating stuff, because they're like, yeah, like the less you are like trying and forcing something, sometimes is when things happen, right? And that's what happened with this job. And so, looking back, it's like, I can't believe it was like a year, but just naturally between travel, getting stuff I couldn't do in the past with some of these concerts and stuff out of my system, or into my system, I should say. I think I kind of became ready to step back in a different way.
And Brett, I want to give you a lot of credit. I almost think that year was a little bit of a rebirth for you. Quitting the Wizards, coming out. I mean, just to get a little bit vulnerable here, and sorry to put you on the spot, you hit a pretty low point. Like, as one of your friends, I was concerned about you for a little while. Like, you kept just traveling. We had no momentum on jobs, which I get was for a different reason, but all good. And you got sick for a little bit there. And I remember going out, whether it was lunch or coffee for you, and being like, fuck, like I gotta make sure my buddy's okay. And I think it was this really beautiful rebirth that was happening where like you were battling years, decades worth of emotion, of buried thoughts, of processing things, and all figuring that out at the same time. And like, no doubt that's going to take an impact on your system while you're trying to travel the world and have fun and like learn this new world of dating, which now we both can complain about. Right. And so I think what's really cool for me is you took this low point and now I've turned it into, I don't want to call it a dream life, but you're living a pretty damn cool life with jobs that align to you, with free time that align with your passions. And you get to be a true, authentic Brett now. And as your friend, like, that's all that we ever want for you. And I'm really proud of you for going through some adversity. I remember when you're in those low points, like trying to give you some advice, but being like, I can't like get your ass out of bed to the gym and to the doctor and to do this stuff. Like, you're going to have to do it at some point. And then you did. And now you're great.
It is crazy. Right when I left the Wizards, I got like this infection where I was like, it was just like it was like almost like me. And I didn't have to be hospitalized or anything. It wasn't like that serious. But it was like, I think it was just like my body telling me like, all right, chill out after all these years. But I think part of what you're saying too, and Parker knows this, like Sam's such a good friend that, you know, you have those friends that when you hit those low points, you're calling to reach out for, and everybody needs people like that. Like everybody, I don't care who you are, like, you know, you need people in your life. And so I remember Sam at one point, I think it was like maybe you said to me like, come on, like we got it. Like I feel like this is our 5th or 6th lunch in a row where you've been, you know, like a little like down. And I thought about it. I was like, yeah, but that's because I call you when I'm down. So it's like, I was like, yeah, like you're not wrong, but it's a testament to, you know, who Sam is as a person and friend. But I do think, you know, whenever things get bad, and I will say like, you know, I definitely experienced lower points than I experienced before, but you know, I wouldn't want to compare it to like feeling like the lowest of the low that I know some people feel even more than that. But I will say one thing that really kind of gave me the confidence during down points is that you never know, like your life can change tomorrow. Like it literally can. Like you never know who you're going to meet. You never know what opportunity is going to come across. You never know just someplace you're going. Like people who come in and out of your life can change your life in an instant. And so, you know, I think that it's always a good reminder for when things aren't going well, you know, how you do. Now, the one thing I have to overcome now, and no one likes to be sick, but like like I had like the flu or not, I don't know what it was. It wasn't, but like, you know, I was sick for a few days last month, and it's like when you're feeling physically down, like no one likes it. But at that, I know now it's just like I don't know how I get out of this until I feel better, but a lot of Netflix.
Yeah. A lot of Netflix, maybe a lot of tea, maybe some call Sam up. He has, what do you have, your crazy little corner, his wellness corner. You can go sit there. But Brett, I mean, it resonates in the sense that like when you go through hard moments, and by the way, I think I'm going to one up you. Your life could change tomorrow. I think your life could change today. I don't like to think in tomorrows because tomorrows never come, because tomorrow becomes today. And so I like to think that things change in front of us and there's hope for tomorrow, but you never actually get to the idea that tomorrow is a thing because then it becomes the present. And so to your point, like I've gone through some hard moments in my life, and especially the last couple of years too. Like we all have. That's part of growing up and like maturing. And like, you know, thankfully I had, you know, a childhood that was mostly great, but also really challenging too. And we all have those moments that are really rough. And I think as you grow up as in being a human is like, you know, that you can get out of it. You know that there's another side there. You know, the sun will shine again, even though when, you know, you go through those really, really hard moments. I remember a couple years ago, Sam lived it too with me. It's like we experienced a lot of death. And in that moment, you think you're never getting out of it. You think life will never change. But like we just said, you know, the sun will shine. Moments will happen. People will come into your life. Opportunities may arrive, especially if we're not seeking them out. And then you look back and you're like, wait, I mean, this is how I feel. I'm grateful for the hard moments in a sense. They like taught me things about the world and about myself and what I got. And I always say I'm grateful for those shitty moments, which is really weird. I don't know if you feel the same.
Yeah, I think 100%. Like you have to, like now I'm very aware of how I feel at all times. And I mean to say like, if I'm kind of happy in the moment, if I'm enjoying where I am. And it doesn't mean that I'm just like, prioritizing myself all the time. Cause I think that's some therapy stuff where it's like, yeah, you do need to prioritize yourself. But I think sometimes like people will go to therapy, and I'm sure I've done this at times, wanting to hear these things be sent back to me. Like, yeah, prioritize you, and it's like, well, like, that's not, always helpful. But I think, yeah, I'm very aware of like how I feel in the moment. And then, is there a reason for that, or what can I kind of like change it? Or am I just thinking about something that's ahead? And I think it's important.
You just got better at taking care of yourself. It sounds
that
like.
too. I've been trying to get, I can't box with Sam, but I've been trying to get Sam to come to the gym with me. And he's just like, I'm just doing my boxing and soul cycling, whatever he's doing. But yeah, I think the other thing is that it's very easy. Like, it's so awesome to be passionate about something. It really is. And I will say, like, even if part of the level to which I was passionate about basketball maybe was because I was like, all right, this is going to be my life. Other people can raise kids, have a family, and find a significant other. And it's like, but I'll just have this cool job, so I don't have to deal with that and be scared, right? Like, some of it was too much in that way. But I think having something you're passionate about is really cool. You just also have to be just aware of everything else going on too, right? And you just use that passion to kind of mask other things happening. And I think that's for a while what I did. And I think people should strive to have everything and to have balance in their life. That doesn't mean you can graduate college and just kind of be like, well, I need balance at all times. Like, there's definitely going to be putting kind of your hours in to start, especially. But yeah.
Well, I'm gonna let Sam jump in for a second, but the thought you said on passion resonates a lot with me. I actually had a conversation today with a former boss of mine. I haven't talked to him in 4 or 5 years, and we caught up. And he's like, "It's really cool to see you in the place that you're at, because you do something that you would expect more people to do, and is you just lean in on your passions, and that has brought like a lot of positive things into your life, whether it be with what you're doing at work or outside of work. You just lean into your passions." And Brett, to your point, it sounds like you lean into your passions hard, right? You're traveling the world to go see your favorite bands. You're trying to figure out, like, you studied the salary cap in college, man. Like, what? Like, that's so unique and so like niche. And to Sam too, like, he's leaning into his boxing and, what we're doing with Elevation Nation. And people who lean into their passions will find ways, to your point, opportunities that will come up to them. Unfortunately, in today's society, like, I feel like people are falling away from that because it's so easy to fall into the trap of allowing other people's passion to be your entertainment on your phone. And that's like getting weird. Whereas with us, we're going out and we're doing.
It definitely seems like there's more distractions. But I do think, I say this a lot if I'm talking like students who are just graduating, like trying something and not liking something, I think almost is just as valuable when you're young and if you have a college internship or something, than necessarily finding it. Because I know a lot of people will get frustrated because, like, I tried this, I didn't love it. But I think that tells you just as much about yourself as anything. And the other thing is, in those situations, like, you're always, even if you don't realize it, and I try, to tell people to be more aware of it, you're always honing your philosophy because you're around people. So you're in a work environment. So you're figuring out, what type of people do you like being around? What type of kind of environment would you want to cultivate? And then also your bosses. Like, one of my biggest pet peeves, and you guys should weigh on this, like, is that and I think this is everywhere. We basically, in the US, like, we'll promote people because you're good at this one skill. Awesome. Sometimes your job changes, sometimes it doesn't. You might get a salary bump and money, which is great. But and then we'll promote people again, and then we'll promote them again, and it's like, oh, and also here are 10 people to manage. And there's been no job training. There's been no, it's like, it's such a separate skill. And I think everyone has the capacity to manage and lead. I know the first time I did it, like, I was awful. It was just like, well, I went through this, so you should. And it's like, well, that's just terrible. Right. And so I think that, we don't, we're kind of learning on the fly. And so because there's not necessarily always formal leadership training, seeing who your bosses are and how they lead and things you like about it and things you don't realize, even in sometimes when I hear people talk about, I just don't like my job. It's like, you don't realize that you're honing your philosophy. Sam and I would, he talked about Rocket Bar, but a lot of people we'd hang out with there would be ticket salesmen from the Wizards. And sometimes, I have a couple friends there that would kind of say, well, I'm just like cold calling people all day. Like, what am I doing next? And it's like, yeah, you are cold calling strangers that you don't know on the phone. And you're having to strike up a conversation, one, and then two, sell them while building a relationship. And you're going to hear no. And so then you have to be persistent. It's like you're building all these skills that are so important that, Parker, even what you're talking about, like, sometimes we're on our phones for the wrong reasons. Like, these are like having conversations and seeing people in person who come to open houses. And it's like, you don't even realize what skills that you're building. And so I think that goes for kind of a lot of people. And a lot of times when we're like, I don't really love what I'm doing, or I don't, it's like, but yeah, you don't realize like you're honing your philosophy in a lot of different areas. And two, finding things you don't love gives you clarity. So yeah.
I think it's such a great point and really embodies kind of how I've approached life as a young person. Because to your point, Brett, I don't have a one passion that I'm like, this is what I want to do forever. I care about working with smart, cool people, meeting cool people, inspiring others, being strategic, but I don't know what that's going to look like next year, let alone the next 5 to 10 years. And so I have a rough idea of where I want to go. But I think to your point, it's like, want to gain skills, make some money to support myself and my future family, and then kind of figure it out as we go. I mean, the flip side alternative is you could follow your dream, get there and hate it. That's almost scarier. I don't know what's worse, actually.
Well,
I guess both are bad.
I think there can be reasons why, like, you're on your path to your dream, so you're still kind of living it, right? While you're on your path there. And
yeah,
people overuse it, but it's true. Like, it is about the journey, not the destination. And that was part of why, like, I was so obsessed with, like, one day, like, winning a championship with the Wizards because I grew up a fan. But then you start talking to people that have won championships, and it's like, yeah, this really cool moment for sure. But my friends, like, with teams that have won championships, they're still complaining about the same thing 6 months later they were complaining about before.
that's exactly
And
right.
so you're like, okay, well, that destination is not just going to fulfill me. It's got to be about other stuff. And with you all, like, even since I've known you, Sam, and obviously Parker, we're from a similar area and know of each other. Like, I think even last summer I was texting, I was like, this is crazy. Like, you're flying all over the place because people want to hear you speak. And I think when things are gradual and they're not always as linear as they seem, right? Because sometimes it is peaks and valleys. You don't realize in the moment, like, wait a minute, like, when we started this, like, we were just hoping one person would listen, our families. And now it's like traveling around. And that doesn't mean, I know you all have big plans for, what's going to continue to come and what'll be next. But it's easy to get caught up in that with busy lives versus like looking back at, like, you know what, like, not only has our journey been cool, but we're still on it and we're going to enjoy the journey as we get to wherever this takes us. Like, sometimes we put the destination as this is what it is, but it's really this thing called life that we're just trying to be as happy as possible on the way to it as we live it.
It's a beautiful point. There's like, you have to have the needs met. And I think a lot of times Sam and I look at Elevation Nation is like, how can Elevation Nation fulfill the needs that we think we like want it to fill? But to your point, Brett, it's like, wait, there's so many things that have come as a result, and we just kept going, right? Our needs have been met, and this is like just all of the house money that we get to play with and the incredible things that have come with it, whether the people that we've met, the hundreds and hundreds of conversations that we've got recorded that, our families will be able to listen to forever. And then to your point, be able to speak on stages. It is incredible. It's an incredible journey, and I take it for granted every single day, I feel like. And moments like this are help me reflect in that greatness. So I appreciate that perspective, Brett. You're elevating us.
Oh.
You're a true elevator. What can I say? We're going to move into our rapid fire section to close out the podcast, and then we'll get into our mental motto as well. I got a rapid fire for you, Brett. You said you worked in the Wizards for what, 12 years?
14. Yeah, crazy.
14. All right. So let's call it, you went to every home game or no?
Yeah.
For every home game for 14 years. So we're at over 400 home games. That means that you probably know the vendors inside and out, the places to get the best bite inside and out. What was your favorite place to get food in Capital One Arena?
That's a great question. Well, it has to be a public place because there'd be places. The team, this is gonna sound terrible, but the team chefs are like the best, amazing.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So they had my last couple years, they had these pizza cupcakes, and I'm obsessed with pizza cupcakes. It's a Shark Tank product, and I couldn't you have to order them off of like Amazon. And when I saw they had them the last few years at the arena, I was like, this is not possible. Like they literally just did this because they know I'm here. So it was definitely the pizza cupcakes that were on the second floor. I don't know if they're still there. Yeah, I'm not, unfortunately, I get in trouble by saying this. I'm not a Papa John's guy. I'm Little Caesars all the way. So yeah, have never been a Papa John's guy. That's Papa John's is in the arena, or has been in the past.
Brett's now free to express his opinions
Yeah.
now that he's not employed by the Wiz. This is the pizza controversy that could stir up some drama. All right, next question. This is another positive one about the Wizards. Brett, we've talked about countless incredible stories that you've had throughout your tenure with the Wiz and the NBA. Do you have a favorite memory that sticks out for you?
That's a great question. I think so. When I moved to the front office, we were just kind of thinking like, how can we be creative and do things and use my experience in the video room as we do these analytics things. And so part of what we came up with our coaching staff and front office was we were going to do these player report cards, and it would be like literally like we would like give them goals at the beginning of the year, and they would see what they are. They're agreed upon by the coaches and front office, and a lot of times it's like contest percentage at 80%, things that we're tracking. It could be like a 3-point percentage, and they have like their face on them, and then we would give them like status updates 3 times a year. And so when I moved to the front office, we signed Paul Pierce, and here our coach was like, "All right, you give them out." So I was like, "Okay." So I was going player by player, giving these goals out. We mostly have a young team, and I get to Paul Pierce, and I'm like, I'm about to give Paul Pierce a player goal. Like I'm giving him this goal that like we collectively set that has like, I hope you reach this. And he took it and he looked at it. It was right in front of me. He's like, I've never got one of these. Like, this is kind of cool. I said, but I'm good. And handed it back to me. And so I was like, yeah, okay. Like, I think that's a win. Like this is kind of cool for me. I didn't give him the status follow updates though. I was like, I walked by his chair and be like, I know you don't want this, but you're accomplishing your goals, just so you know.
That's awesome. Yeah. An established vet is like, dude, I know what I'm doing here. I got it. I'll bring my A game. Yeah. But I like that you were still tracking it. That's great. All right, Brett. You see my empty bookshelf. Oh, sorry. My empty bookshelf, it broke last night. There's about 100 books that sit on this thing, most from recommendations from Elevation Nation. What's your book recommendation for us?
Ooh, one book. I love, shout out Tommy Shepard, my former boss, brought me to the Wiz. He had us read Team of Teams, and I love that. It's basically about an interconnected, it's kind of saying instead of hierarchical, you kind of have this network that's like a team of teams, and it's a former military general wrote it, and it sparked a lot of ideas, leadership, different things in my head. So I really like that book.
Love it. Parker, we're going to get you a new bookshelf. Don't you worry, buddy. I'm excited for our dear friend Christian Radden to listen to this because he's going to love that Paul Pierce story. Brett, I'm so grateful that we got to finally and officially welcome you to Elevation Nation. You've been an unofficial member for years, helping to elevate my mindset as a friend. I've been so proud of you as you continue your goals. I want you to know that I'm not just your friend because you got me free tickets. I love you as a person, and I'm very grateful that we're still friends. So on behalf of Parker and myself, the rest of Elevation Nation, welcome. We're glad to have you.
I am pumped up.
He's got to give his mental motto.
Oh, shit.
What about the mental? Yeah. We got to
Are
give
we
him
allowed to
mental
curse on the
motto.
pod? I didn't know about that, so I was like, yeah.
Oh, we're definitely allowed to curse. How did I pass that by? I was like, oh, we did books, we're good.
Well, let's take
Wow.
it. I mean, Brett, everyone's got a mental motto who joins Elevation Nation. So what's your mental motto?
On the spot. I mean, I think I'll just where it is right now, which is fitting, which I think is just be present, live in the moment. Because, I mean, you already kind of said it, Parker, about today, not tomorrow, but there's so many times time flies. Like time literally flies. Like you blink, and holy crap. And so, just be in the moment, like enjoy where you are, the people that you're around, even if you're worried about something else that's coming in a couple days, like really have the attention of the people you're around or what you're doing right now. And, I think that I was never very good at that often, especially with anything outside of basketball. And I'm trying to get better. Although I will say it was a little difficult at times. Sam had this get together last week, and it was at a cigar bar, and I was trying to be in the moment, but cigar smell is just not my thing. So I'm like in the moment, but I'm like, wait a minute, I feel like my clothes smell like cigar. And Sam got back.
That was a bad idea.
Sam got back. He was
We're
like,
not doing that again.
I smell too. I was like, yeah, these are going right in the wash.
Yeah, that was bad.
But yeah, no, I'm honored.
We had fun.
We had a lot of fun. I'm honored that to be on here, and you all, yeah, it's pretty. You all are an inspiration to everyone that's trying to kind of pursue something they're passionate about, and you make time for it too. Like it's not always easy. I can say that. It's probably for you all. I know that, but it's not always easy. But I think, like, to make time for the things that you want to make time for, but the things that you're passionate about, that's where the payoff will end up happening. And, you all are a testament to that. So I'm completely honored to be here, and I'm glad we got to make it happen finally.
I'm pumped. Can't wait. Great mental motto. And Brett, we'll see you at our first. We have a new business idea, a new thing that we're building here, and we're going to tease it for Elevation Nation. But Brett, we're going to see you at our first event. We're excited.
Let's go.
We'll talk more about that after. Let's
just
do
not
it.
at a cigar bar.
Elevation Nation.
Not a cigar bar.
bar.
Don't worry. All right, Elevation Nation. Until next week. Peace.